The city of Solara floated high above the clouds, a marvel of alien engineering and wealth. Towers of shining metal reached into the sky, their surfaces reflecting the colors of the twin suns. Flying vehicles zipped between buildings, leaving trails of light behind them. At the very top of the tallest tower lived Lena, one of the richest and most powerful beings in the city. Her wealth was unmatched, her influence enormous, and her life carefully controlled. But despite all her power, Lena's world had a quiet corner that she treasured more than anything, the children's wing of her home, where her youngest daughter, Myra, lived. Myra was not like the other children. She had a rare condition that made walking difficult, and she spent most of her time in a mobility chair designed to help her move. Lena adored her daughter but worried constantly about her safety and happiness. Caregivers were always nearby, and advanced machines monitored every move Myra made. One rainy morning, a new human arrived to work in the building. His name was Tom. He was simple, wearing a plain uniform and carrying a small cleaning kit. Humans were unusual in Solara, most aliens regarded them as fragile and insignificant. But Lena had allowed a few humans into her home for work because their perspective often surprised her. Tom moved quietly through the halls. He did not rush, and he did not speak unless necessary. He had a calm presence, the kind that made people feel safe. He began his cleaning, wiping surfaces and tidying corners with careful attention. But as he entered the children's wing, he noticed Myra struggling. She was trying to reach a toy on a low shelf, leaning forward and straining, but her chair made it difficult. Tom watched her for a moment, and then he moved closer. "Here, let me help," he said gently, his voice soft but steady. Myra looked at him with surprise, then smiled faintly. Tom carefully adjusted her chair so she could reach the toy and handed it to her. He did not rush or make her feel embarrassed for needing help. Instead, he stayed calm and patient, offering a kind word whenever she hesitated. Lena, observing from a hidden balcony above, felt something she had never felt before. Curiosity. Admiration. She had seen countless beings care for children, but none had moved with such quiet dedication. There was no desire for reward in Tom's actions, no show of skill or power. Only care. As Tom helped Myra organize her toys, he noticed a small drawing she had made. "This is beautiful," he said. Myra's eyes lit up. She had rarely received praise from anyone outside her family. Tom took a moment to ask her about the picture, listening patiently as she explained every line and color. Lena watched, fascinated, as a human connected with her daughter in a way she had never seen anyone else do. Tom continued his work, cleaning the floor while occasionally checking on Myra. He made sure her wheelchair moved smoothly and that the room was safe for her to explore. He even adjusted a small ramp that had been slightly off balance. Every small action was done with care and respect. Lena realized that humans, though physically weaker than aliens, had an emotional strength that machines and wealth could not match. Hours passed, and the other staff left for their breaks. Tom remained, quietly humming a tune while he worked. Myra had grown comfortable with him, following his instructions and laughing at his gentle jokes. She felt safe, something Lena had not realized she had been missing. Lena descended to the room silently, wanting to see Tom up close without startling him. She appeared in her normal attire, her presence commanding even without words. Tom looked up but did not flinch. He had always treated every being with respect, and he did the same with Lena. "Who are you?" he asked politely, unaware of her true identity. "I am Lena," she said, choosing her words carefully. "I watched how you cared for Myra. Your attention and patience, it is rare. Most beings would ignore her struggle or rush through the task." Tom bowed slightly. "I only wanted to help. She is like my little sister. I understand what it means to feel helpless, and I cannot stand seeing anyone struggle if I can make it easier." Lena felt a strange warmth in her chest. Humans often surprised her. Their ability to care so purely, without ambition or fear, was unlike anything she had experienced in her world of power and status. For the next hour, Lena watched as Tom continued his work. He cleaned the windows with precision, adjusted the lights to make the room brighter, and even checked Myra's medical devices to ensure they were functioning correctly. All the while, he spoke to Myra as if she were capable of anything, encouraging her to try and explore on her own while staying nearby for support. Myra laughed freely, a sound that echoed in the large room. Lena realized that for the first time in months, her daughter had a moment of true joy. It was not from expensive toys or advanced technology but from the simple presence of a human who cared. As the sun began to set, casting warm light through the large windows, Lena finally spoke again. "You are not just helping her. You are teaching her strength, confidence, and trust. That is more valuable than anything else in my world." Tom smiled humbly. "I just try to do my best. She deserves to feel happy and capable." Lena nodded, her mind racing. She had wealth, technology, and influence, but she realized something important: there were qualities she could not buy, no matter how powerful she became. Compassion, patience, and empathy were rare treasures, and Tom possessed them in abundance. As she left the room, Lena knew her life had changed in a small but profound way. She would not forget this human janitor, nor the way he had cared for her daughter. And deep inside, she felt the beginning of something unexpected: a desire to understand humans better, to learn from them, and perhaps, to allow them a greater place in her life. That night, as the city of Solara glittered beneath the twin suns, Lena stood by her window and watched Tom leave the building. He moved quietly through the rain, unaware of the impression he had made on her. For Lena, the encounter was more than a simple act of kindness. It was a glimpse of something extraordinary, something she had long forgotten in her world of power: the strength of a good heart. The morning sun rose over the floating city of Solara, spilling golden light across the shining towers. Lena awoke with a feeling she could not shake. The human janitor, Tom, kept returning to her thoughts. His quiet patience, the gentle way he treated her daughter, and the respect he showed for every small task had left an impression she could not ignore. In her life, wealth and influence had taught her many things, but the sincerity of a human's heart was something she had never encountered before. Lena decided she needed to learn more about Tom. She could not understand how a human, so ordinary in appearance, could possess such care and wisdom. She began to observe him from a distance, following his movements through the hallways without him noticing. Tom arrived in the children's wing just as he did every morning. His uniform was simple and clean, and he carried his cleaning kit with quiet efficiency. But Lena noticed something more important: the way he looked at Myra. His eyes were soft, patient, and attentive. Every movement he made was deliberate, ensuring Myra's comfort before thinking about his own work. Myra was excited to see him. "Good morning, Tom," she said, her smile bright despite the slight struggle in moving her wheelchair. "Good morning, Myra," Tom replied warmly. "Ready to see what we can do today?" Lena hid behind a corner, watching as Tom guided Myra to a new toy he had prepared. It was a puzzle that required both hands, a challenge designed to encourage Myra's dexterity. Lena was amazed. He had not simply cleaned the room, he had brought a plan to help her daughter grow. He explained each step carefully, letting Myra attempt the puzzle herself while offering encouragement and guidance. "Try this piece here," he said, gently rotating her hand. "See how it fits? You can do it." Myra's eyes lit up as she managed to fit the piece correctly. She laughed, and Tom joined in with a soft chuckle. Lena's heart swelled. She had never seen her daughter so focused and happy without relying on machines or complex technology. This human had found a way to connect with her child that no one else could. As the day progressed, Lena continued to watch Tom. He moved quietly from task to task, checking each corner of the room, adjusting furniture, and ensuring every surface was safe. He even noticed a small loose wheel on Myra's chair and quickly fixed it without making a fuss. Lena realized that his attention to detail was not born from obligation or payment but from genuine concern. Curiosity overcame her caution. She stepped closer, revealing herself just enough so Tom could see her face. His expression remained respectful and calm. "Hello again," Lena said softly. Tom nodded politely. "Hello, ma'am. I was just making sure everything is safe for Myra." Lena studied him. "I watched you yesterday. You have a way of caring that is unusual for humans, or for anyone. Tell me, why do you do this?" Tom paused, considering her question. "I know what it feels like to struggle. When I was young, my little brother was hurt, and I could not do much to help. I promised myself I would always try to make a difference when I could. Helping Myra is the same. She deserves attention, patience, and kindness. That is all I can offer, and I am happy to do it." Lena felt a new sense of respect. Most humans she had met in her circles of influence were ambitious or cautious, trying to protect themselves. Tom's actions came from something far deeper than ambition. They came from empathy. Over the next few days, Lena continued to study Tom's behavior. She noticed the small gestures that made him remarkable. He cleaned a spill immediately, not to avoid blame but to prevent Myra from slipping. He rearranged toys so she could reach them independently. He even hummed quietly when Myra seemed anxious, a soft sound that made her relax instantly. Lena realized that humans, though fragile in form, possessed a resilience of spirit that surpassed the advanced technology of her world. Lena also saw how Myra responded. The girl laughed more freely, explored her room with curiosity, and attempted new activities without fear. Lena had invested in advanced teaching machines and caregivers, but nothing had worked as well as Tom's quiet guidance. She began to wonder if the human's presence could teach her something she had long forgotten: how to care with heart, not just with resources. One evening, Lena decided to approach Tom directly, not as an observer this time but as herself. She entered the children's wing while Tom was organizing toys. "Tom," she said. He looked up immediately, his expression calm but attentive. "Ma'am, is something wrong?" "No," Lena replied, smiling. "I want to understand you. You have a way of connecting with Myra that no one else has. How do you do it?" Tom paused, a little surprised by her interest. "I just pay attention," he said simply. "I watch her, listen to her, and do what I can to make her safe and happy. That is all." Lena studied him closely. His words were simple, yet they carried a depth she could not ignore. In her world, people used complex plans, manipulation, or power to achieve results. Tom achieved far more with quiet observation, patience, and genuine care. As they spoke, Myra rolled closer, holding a toy in her hands. "Tom helped me with this," she said proudly. Lena watched as Tom smiled and encouraged her, letting her explain the puzzle solution. Lena felt a mixture of amazement and humility. She realized that even the richest and most powerful beings could learn from a human like Tom. That night, Lena returned to her private quarters, her mind filled with thoughts of the janitor. She could not stop thinking about his quiet strength, his unwavering patience, and the kindness he showed without expectation. In her world of wealth and influence, people often acted out of desire or fear. Tom acted out of something pure and rare, genuine compassion. Lena knew she had to understand humans better, starting with Tom. His presence in her daughter's life had already made a difference she could not measure with technology or resources. He had reminded her that true strength was not in power, wealth, or intelligence alone, but in the heart. She looked out at the city lights of Solara, sparkling like stars. She felt a small, growing hope that perhaps humans, with their resilience and care, could teach even the most powerful alien beings something extraordinary. And she realized that her life and Myra's life might be about to change in ways she had never imagined. The sun rose again over Solara, painting the city in shades of gold and orange. Lena felt a strange excitement as she prepared for the day. Tom would arrive soon, and she wanted to see him up close, not just as an observer. Yesterday had left her curious, and today she planned to cross a boundary she had never crossed before. She would speak to him openly and learn more about this human who had captured her attention. When Tom arrived, he greeted Myra with the same warmth he always showed. "Good morning, Myra," he said with a gentle smile. She responded with a small giggle, happy to see him. Lena watched from the hallway, her heart filled with a mixture of admiration and cautious curiosity. She decided to approach him slowly. "Tom," Lena said as she stepped forward. Tom looked up immediately. His posture was polite but relaxed. "Yes, ma'am," he asked, expecting some instruction. "I want to know more about you," Lena said carefully. "I have watched how you care for Myra, and I do not understand why someone would dedicate so much attention to a child who is not their own. Tell me about your life." Tom blinked, slightly surprised. He had worked for many employers, but none had asked about him personally. Most people assumed humans like him were simple and unimportant. Yet here was Lena, a billionaire from an alien world, genuinely interested. "My story is simple," Tom began. "I come from a small world. My family was not rich. I grew up helping my little brother when he was sick. I learned early that small acts of care matter more than anything else. I came here to work, to earn a living, but I also wanted to help children who needed it. Myra reminded me of my brother. I just wanted to do what I could." Lena listened intently. His words were simple, but they carried weight she could not ignore. Unlike the people she knew in her world, Tom's actions were guided by compassion, not ambition. She felt a quiet respect growing inside her, something she rarely experienced in her dealings with adults or other beings. "Why do you care so much?" Lena asked gently. "You could just clean the rooms and leave. No one would blame you. Why invest so much in her happiness?" Tom looked at Myra as she tried to reach a puzzle piece and gently guided her hand. "Because she is alive, and she deserves care. I cannot ignore someone who struggles if I can help. That is all I know to do." Lena felt a twinge of admiration. The simplicity of his answer revealed a strength she had never seen before. In a world obsessed with wealth, power, and reputation, here was a human who lived by principles of heart and empathy. She realized that humans could be strong in ways aliens often overlooked. Over the next few hours, Lena stayed in the room, speaking to Tom about small details of life on his home planet. Tom shared stories about his family, the games he played as a child, and the lessons he learned growing up. He spoke of patience, of helping others even when no one noticed, and of finding joy in small accomplishments. Lena was fascinated. She had never heard such simple but meaningful words, and she began to see the value of human life from a perspective she had never considered. Myra watched them, occasionally interjecting with questions or comments about her toys. She laughed freely, a sound Lena had not heard in years. Tom encouraged her gently, praising her efforts and helping her learn new skills without making her feel incapable. Lena noticed that Myra's confidence grew with each small success. As the day went on, Lena realized she wanted to understand not just Tom's actions but his mind. She asked him questions about how he solved problems and how he approached challenges. Tom spoke humbly, explaining how he looked for practical solutions and considered the feelings of others before acting. His approach was simple but effective, and Lena marveled at how someone with no advanced technology could achieve results that her highly trained staff often struggled with. "Tom," Lena said finally, "you see the world in a way that is different from anyone I know. You care, you observe, and you act with thought. It is rare in any species. I want to learn from you, if you will allow it. Tom blinked, surprised by her words. Learn from me? I do not have knowledge like yours or skills in your technology. I just care for others and try to help. That is the point, Lena said softly. Your care, your patience, your way of thinking, these are strengths that cannot be bought. I want to understand them. I want to see how you work, how you think, and perhaps, how humans see the world differently from aliens. Tom nodded slowly, understanding her intention. I will help in any way I can. My goal has always been to make Myra's life better. If sharing what I do helps, I will do it. For the next several days, Lena observed and participated more actively in the care of Myra. She worked alongside Tom, learning to see the small details he noticed. She learned how to adjust Myra's wheelchair for comfort, how to encourage her gently to try new activities, and how to pay attention to emotional cues that technology could not detect. Lena realized that wealth and machines alone could never provide what a caring heart could. As Lena and Tom spent time together, a quiet trust developed between them. Lena felt safe asking questions, and Tom responded without judgment. Their conversations were filled with stories, advice, and small lessons about life. Lena began to see that humans had something extraordinary, the ability to act with kindness, ingenuity, and patience even in the simplest actions. One afternoon, as the twin suns of Solara dipped toward the horizon, Lena stood by Myra's window, watching her daughter play. She turned to Tom and said, I have always believed that strength comes from power, resources, and intelligence. But I see now that strength can also come from patience, empathy, and care. You have shown me this, and I am grateful. Tom smiled humbly. I do not seek gratitude. I just do what I can to help. Lena nodded, her heart filled with a new understanding. She realized that humans, though physically weaker than aliens, had an inner strength that could change lives in ways technology never could. Tom had shown her that the smallest actions, performed with care, could have the greatest impact. As night fell over Solara, Lena returned to her private quarters, her mind racing with thoughts of Tom and the lessons he had unknowingly taught her. She understood that boundaries between alien and human were not just physical, they were mental and emotional. She had crossed a boundary of curiosity, entering a world of thought, care, and simplicity she had never experienced before. And deep inside, she felt the first stirrings of a decision she would need to make, to allow humans, starting with Tom, a place in her life that went beyond servitude, a place where their unique strength could truly shine. For Lena, the day had ended not just with admiration for a human janitor but with a growing realization that sometimes, true power lies not in wealth or technology, but in the quiet courage to care. The morning sun bathed Solara in soft golden light as Lena stood in her private study, thinking about Tom. She could not stop reflecting on his patience, his care for Myra, and the way he seemed to understand the child without even trying. In her world of wealth and influence, people often acted with ambition or caution, but Tom acted from something far purer, kindness. Today, Lena decided to test the depth of his character. She wanted to see if his dedication was genuine or simply a temporary display. She approached him in the children's wing with a new proposal. Tom, she said, her voice calm but firm, I would like to offer you a new position here. Not just as a janitor, but in a role where you can care for Myra more directly and help her grow. Tom looked at her, surprised and cautious. I do not understand. I am just here to clean and help where I can. I do not seek any special role or reward. Lena smiled gently. This is not about reward. It is about trust. I have observed your work, your care, and your patience. Myra responds to you in a way she does not respond to others. I want you to take on a position where you can focus entirely on her well-being, and where your decisions are valued. You will have resources and freedom to act as you see best. Tom hesitated. He had lived a simple life, following clear rules and routines. This proposal was far beyond what he had expected. I do not know if I am worthy of such responsibility. I only want Myra to be happy and safe. I do not want status or power. That is exactly why I am offering this to you, Lena said. You care without expectation. You act without seeking gain. That is rare. And it is the very reason I trust you. Myra needs someone like you. Tom considered her words carefully. He thought of Myra, her small smile, her excitement when he guided her in simple games, and her confidence growing with every small success. He realized that accepting Lena's offer would allow him to help her more effectively, not for himself but for her. If it is for Myra, I will accept, he said finally. Lena nodded, impressed by his humility. Good. You will have access to anything you need to improve her life. I want you to guide her learning, her care, and her growth. You will have my full support. Over the next few days, Tom began his new role. He coordinated Myra's care, arranging schedules with other staff, introducing new activities, and adjusting the environment to make it more accessible. Lena observed quietly, still curious about how a human approached problems differently from aliens. Tom's methods were simple but effective. He encouraged Myra to try tasks on her own, celebrating small victories and providing gentle guidance when needed. He noticed details that technology often missed, how Myra's mood changed with light, how she responded to sound, and how she interacted with the world around her. Every observation was used to create a better experience for her. Lena was amazed. Despite having access to advanced alien technology and a team of experts, Tom's approach yielded results she had never seen before. Myra was more confident, more active, and happier. Lena realized that sometimes, simplicity combined with care could achieve more than power or machines. One afternoon, Lena decided to test Tom's integrity further. She asked him to make a decision about Myra's schedule, knowing it could affect her safety if handled poorly. Tom reviewed the options carefully, considering Myra's comfort, learning, and joy. He chose a balanced approach, ensuring both safety and opportunity for growth. Lena observed silently, noting how he weighed every detail and acted without ego or fear. I see now, Lena said quietly to herself, that humans have a strength we often overlook. Their hearts guide them as much as their minds. Tom is teaching me this lesson. Later that evening, Lena joined Tom and Myra for a quiet moment. Myra was laughing as Tom helped her build a small tower from blocks. Lena watched, feeling a mixture of admiration and warmth. You have changed her world, Lena said softly. Tom smiled humbly. I did not do it alone. Myra is brave, and she wants to try. I just guide her. Lena nodded, realizing the truth in his words. Tom's strength was not just in his actions but in his ability to inspire others. He encouraged Myra to be her best self, allowing her to grow with confidence. Over the next week, Lena allowed Tom to take full control of Myra's care, stepping back to observe. She learned from him, seeing how humans approached life with patience, empathy, and creativity. She realized that Tom's dedication came not from fear of punishment or desire for reward but from a genuine desire to help. This was a quality she had rarely seen in her world of power and privilege. One evening, as the twin suns set over Solara, casting warm light over the city, Lena spoke to Tom privately. You have shown me something I had forgotten, she said. Strength is not measured by wealth or power alone. True strength is patience, empathy, and care. You have reminded me of this. Tom looked at her quietly, humbled by her words. I do not seek recognition. I just try to do what is right. That is all I know. You have done more than you realize, Lena said softly. You have changed Myra's life, and you have taught me something I cannot measure with wealth or machines. You have shown me the power of a good heart. Tom nodded, understanding the depth of her words. He had never sought to teach or impress, but Lena's acknowledgement made him feel the importance of his actions. He had acted only for Myra, yet his impact reached further than he had imagined. That night, Lena watched Tom leave for the day, his simple figure disappearing into the rain. She felt a sense of admiration and respect that went beyond curiosity. She realized that humans, with their simple strength of heart, could achieve things even the most powerful beings could not. As she returned to her quarters, Lena knew her life and Myra's life would never be the same. Tom's presence had not only improved her daughter's world but had also opened her eyes to the unique strength of humanity. She understood that trust, patience, and care were qualities worth cherishing above all else. And as Solara glimmered beneath the twin suns, Lena made a silent promise to herself: she would ensure that Tom had the freedom and resources to continue his work, not just for Myra, but as a lesson in the power of compassion and integrity. Days turned into weeks in the floating city of Solara, and Tom's role in Myra's life grew steadily. Lena had given him full authority over her daughter's care, and he embraced it with the same quiet dedication he had always shown. Myra's life had changed profoundly. She laughed more freely, explored new activities with courage, and began to interact with the world in ways Lena had never seen before. Lena observed all of this with fascination. She had wealth, knowledge, and influence beyond measure, yet she realized that no machine or technology could replicate the care Tom provided. His methods were simple, but their impact was extraordinary. He had built a bond with Myra, one rooted in trust, patience, and empathy. Lena understood something important: humans could inspire growth in ways even the most advanced alien technology could not. One morning, Lena decided to watch Tom as he went about his tasks. He began by checking Myra's wheelchair, adjusting it slightly to improve comfort. Then he prepared a series of activities designed to strengthen her mobility and coordination. He encouraged her gently, never rushing, always praising her small successes. "Try to reach this block," he said softly, guiding her hand. "You can do it. Take your time." Myra focused, and with Tom's guidance, she managed to pick up the block and place it carefully on her tower. Her face lit up with pride. Tom smiled, clapping his hands lightly. "See? I knew you could do it." Lena watched from the side, feeling a mixture of awe and admiration. She realized that Tom's gift was not just skill or patience, it was his ability to inspire confidence. He treated Myra as capable, not fragile, and in doing so, he had opened her world. Over the next few hours, Tom introduced new challenges for Myra, always adjusting them to her ability. He encouraged her to solve small puzzles, reach for objects slightly out of her normal range, and even try new movements in her wheelchair. Every task was designed with care, balancing difficulty with achievable success. At one point, Myra struggled with a puzzle piece and sighed in frustration. Tom knelt beside her, his expression calm. "It's okay, Myra. Let's try together. You are learning, and every attempt makes you stronger." Lena felt a deep respect for the human. He did not simply solve problems for Myra, he taught her how to overcome them herself. She had watched countless caregivers and advanced machines attempt similar tasks, but none had succeeded in nurturing both skill and confidence at the same time. Tom's approach was simple, yet transformative. Later that day, Lena joined Tom and Myra as they moved to the balcony of her home. The twin suns of Solara cast a warm glow over the city, reflecting off the floating towers and glass surfaces. Tom had prepared a small activity to help Myra explore her surroundings safely. He guided her in moving her wheelchair along a narrow pathway, encouraging her to observe the world around her. "Look at the city, Myra," he said softly. "See how bright and full of life it is. You can experience it, step by step, at your own pace." Myra smiled and followed his instructions carefully. Lena watched silently, realizing that Tom had taught her daughter more than movement, he had taught her courage and curiosity. Myra's eyes sparkled with excitement, and Lena felt a warmth in her heart she had not experienced in years. Tom noticed Lena standing nearby and gave her a small, respectful nod. "She is doing well," he said simply. Lena nodded, feeling a quiet gratitude. She realized that trust was the key to Tom's effectiveness. He had earned her confidence and, in doing so, had created an environment where Myra could thrive. As the day progressed, Tom continued to guide Myra through activities that promoted independence. He adjusted her chair, organized her toys, and even created new games that challenged her mind and body. Lena observed quietly, fascinated by the human's creativity and dedication. She realized that his strength lay not in power or technology but in his ability to see potential and nurture it. One afternoon, a small accident occurred. Myra's wheelchair tipped slightly on an uneven surface, and she cried out in surprise. Tom reacted immediately, steadying her chair and comforting her. "It's okay, Myra. You are safe. We will fix this together." Lena watched in amazement. Tom's calm response prevented fear from taking hold. Myra's tears quickly turned to smiles as he guided her safely back to stable ground. Lena understood then that Tom's presence provided more than guidance, it offered security and confidence. Later that evening, Lena spoke to Tom privately. "You have done more for Myra than I ever imagined possible," she said softly. "Your care has changed her life. I realize now that trust is not given lightly, and you have earned it completely." Tom smiled humbly. "I only do what I can. Myra is brave, and she wants to try. I help her, but she does the work herself." "That is what makes your approach extraordinary," Lena replied. "You empower her rather than control her. You see her strength instead of focusing on her limitations. That is a lesson I must learn as well." Tom nodded, understanding her words. He had never sought praise, yet Lena's acknowledgement filled him with quiet satisfaction. He had acted only for Myra's benefit, yet his efforts had inspired a greater understanding in her as well. Over the next few days, Lena allowed Tom complete freedom to implement his ideas. He introduced small changes in the children's wing, adjusting schedules, creating accessible pathways, and designing activities that promoted independence and joy. Every change was thoughtful, simple, and effective. Lena observed quietly, learning from his methods. She began to understand that human strength lay not in technology or wealth but in the ability to notice details, to care deeply, and to inspire confidence. Tom had demonstrated this consistently, and Myra was thriving because of it. One evening, as the twin sun set over Solara, Lena watched Tom and Myra playing quietly in the children's wing. She felt a deep sense of gratitude and admiration. He had earned her trust completely, and in doing so, had transformed her daughter's world. Lena realized that this human, whom she had once thought of as simple, possessed a strength far greater than she had imagined. She knew, with certainty, that Tom's presence was a gift not just to Myra, but to her as well. He had reminded her that true power was not measured by wealth or influence but by the ability to care, to nurture, and to inspire confidence. As the night fell, Lena returned to her private quarters, her heart filled with a quiet hope. She understood that humans like Tom could teach lessons no technology or wealth ever could. And she made a silent promise to support him fully, to allow him to continue shaping Myra's life, and to learn from the remarkable simplicity and strength of his heart. For Lena, the gift of trust had proven transformative. By believing in Tom, she had unlocked a world of growth and joy for her daughter. And she knew that this trust, once given, would continue to create possibilities she had never imagined. The floating city of Solara gleamed under the morning sun, but an unusual tension lingered in Lena's mansion. A rival corporation, envious of her success and power, had begun to spread rumors about her family. They saw Myra's condition as a weakness to exploit, hoping to manipulate Lena into concessions. Lena's advisors urged immediate action, recommending security measures, legal pressure, and strict control. But Lena hesitated. She wanted to see how Tom would handle the situation. Tom arrived in the children's wing, unaware of the growing tension outside. His focus remained entirely on Myra. He checked her wheelchair, adjusted her surroundings, and prepared a series of activities designed to strengthen her mobility and confidence. Lena observed silently, wondering how a human would respond to a crisis unlike anything he had faced before. Later that afternoon, a message arrived from the rival corporation. They demanded an audience with Lena, hinting that Myra's care would be their leverage. Lena's advisors were ready to respond with force, but she felt a quiet determination. "Wait," she said. "Let Tom handle this in his way." Tom listened as Lena explained the situation. He was calm but thoughtful. "We cannot let fear or anger guide our actions," he said. "We must protect Myra, ensure her safety, and act with strategy. There is a way to handle this without letting them control us." Lena was impressed by his composure. Most beings in her world would react with panic or aggression. Tom's approach was simple, logical, and centered on Myra's well-being. Over the next several hours, Tom devised a plan. He reviewed the mansion's layout, identified areas where Myra could be kept safe, and suggested ways to communicate with the rival corporation without revealing weaknesses. He coordinated with Lena's security team, ensuring they acted efficiently but without fear-driven haste. Lena watched closely, noting how Tom's calm reasoning guided every decision. When the rival corporation arrived, they were met not with panic or aggression but with careful strategy. Tom suggested a series of precautions that kept Myra safe while presenting Lena's family as confident and unshaken. He even prepared subtle measures to detect deception and manipulation from the visitors. Lena marveled at how a human, without advanced alien technology or status, could outmaneuver beings with vast resources and ambition. Throughout the encounter, Tom remained composed. He guided Lena and her advisors, ensuring every move was measured and effective. When Myra became anxious at the arrival of strangers, he comforted her quietly, using soft words and gentle gestures. His presence calmed her, allowing Lena to focus on the situation without distraction. The rival representatives were forced to leave without achieving their goals. They underestimated the human's ability to think creatively and act decisively. Lena realized that Tom's strength lay not in aggression or tools but in careful observation, clear thinking, and unwavering patience. After the visitors departed, Lena turned to Tom. "I am amazed," she said softly. "You handled this better than anyone else could. Your calm, your strategy, and your care protected Myra without confrontation. I have never seen such a combination of courage and thoughtfulness." Tom shook his head humbly. "I only did what I thought was best for Myra. I considered each step carefully, and I tried to stay calm. That is all." "Sometimes," Lena said, smiling, "all the technology and wealth in the world cannot replace clear thought and a steady heart. You have reminded me of that." The next few days were filled with reflection. Lena observed Tom as he continued his work with Myra, seeing how he applied the lessons from the crisis. He adjusted activities to promote confidence, ensured the mansion was safe, and encouraged Myra to explore her surroundings with independence. Every action was deliberate, focused on growth rather than control. Myra's progress accelerated. She moved more confidently in her wheelchair, solved puzzles with greater skill, and smiled more freely than ever before. Lena realized that the crisis had shown her the true value of Tom's presence. He was not only a caretaker but a teacher, a guide, and a protector. His influence extended beyond immediate care, he inspired confidence and resilience. One evening, as Lena and Tom watched Myra play quietly in the children's wing, Lena spoke softly. "You have taught me something extraordinary. Humans, with their patience, empathy, and determination, can achieve what even the most powerful beings cannot. Your actions today proved that." Tom looked at her, calm and humble. I did what anyone would do for someone they care about. I only wanted to keep Myra safe and happy. That is exactly why you succeed where others fail, Lena said. Strength is not measured by power or status. True strength is in care, patience, and the courage to act wisely. Lena felt a deep sense of respect for the human. She had begun the week curious about him, observing his methods and wondering at his patience. Now, after the crisis, she understood something fundamental: humans possessed a form of strength that her wealth and power could never provide. Tom's courage was quiet but absolute, and it protected Myra in ways machines never could. The crisis also changed Lena's perspective on her advisors and the world she inhabited. She realized that relying solely on technology, influence, and power was not enough. True protection came from careful thought, empathy, and trust. Tom embodied all three qualities, and his presence in her life had become invaluable. That night, Lena watched the city of Solara from her window. The lights shimmered in the distance, reflecting off the floating towers. She felt a quiet satisfaction knowing that Tom's guidance had preserved her daughter's safety and confidence. She understood that his human perspective offered insights and solutions that even the most advanced alien minds could not achieve. She made a decision in that moment. Tom would remain at the center of Myra's life, not as a subordinate, but as a trusted partner in care. His judgment, patience, and compassion were now indispensable. Lena also realized that she had learned from him lessons about trust, empathy, and courage that she would carry forward in all her decisions. The next morning, Lena spoke to Tom quietly as he prepared Myra's activities. "I want you to know how much I respect and trust you," she said. "Today proved that your heart and mind are stronger than I ever imagined. You have earned my full confidence." Tom looked at her with quiet humility. "I only do what is right. That is all I can offer." "You offer more than you know," Lena replied softly. "You have protected Myra, inspired confidence, and reminded me of the power of a good heart. That is a gift beyond measure." As the twin suns rose over Solara, casting light on the city's towers, Lena realized that the test of character had strengthened the bond between them. Tom had proven that human ingenuity, patience, and courage could overcome challenges that technology and power alone could not. He had transformed not only Myra's life but also Lena's understanding of true strength. And in that quiet moment, Lena knew that the future held possibilities she had never imagined, possibilities built on trust, empathy, and the extraordinary resilience of a human heart. The morning in Solara was calm, the city shimmering beneath the twin suns. Lena stood in the children's wing, watching Myra move confidently in her wheelchair. The little girl's eyes sparkled with joy, and her laughter filled the room. Lena felt a deep sense of gratitude toward Tom. His presence had transformed Myra's life, giving her not only mobility but confidence and independence. Tom was quietly organizing toys for the day's activities. He had become an integral part of Myra's life, and his influence was evident in the child's progress. Lena approached him with a thoughtful expression. "Tom," she said softly, "I want to acknowledge something important. You have done more than I ever imagined possible for Myra. Your patience, your care, and your wisdom have changed her world. And mine as well." Tom looked at her humbly. "I only do what I can. Myra is brave, and she wants to grow. I guide her, but she achieves her own success. That is precisely why your presence matters so much," Lena said. "You empower her rather than control her. You inspire confidence and courage in ways that no machine or wealth could achieve. And that is a rare and invaluable gift." Over the following days, Lena continued to integrate Tom fully into the management of Myra's care. He was not just a caretaker, he became a teacher, a guide, and a partner in decision-making. Lena learned from him constantly, observing how he approached challenges, communicated with Myra, and fostered her growth. She realized that humans possessed a unique combination of empathy, observation, and courage that even the most advanced aliens could not replicate. One afternoon, Lena invited her advisors to witness the progress Myra had made under Tom's care. She wanted them to see the value of trust, patience, and human perspective. Tom demonstrated activities designed to strengthen Myra's skills while encouraging her independence. The advisors watched in amazement as Myra solved puzzles, maneuvered her wheelchair confidently, and displayed a level of joy and curiosity that Lena had not seen before. "This is remarkable," one advisor said. "We expected machines or specialists to produce results, but this is something different." Lena smiled. "Yes. Tom's approach combines care, patience, and understanding. It is a lesson in the strength of the human heart." Tom remained humble, quietly guiding Myra without seeking recognition. Lena realized that his humility was part of his strength. He acted not for reward or praise but out of genuine care. This was a lesson she would carry forward in all her decisions, that the greatest impact often comes from those who act with integrity and compassion rather than ambition. Over the weeks, Myra continued to thrive. She became more independent, exploring new areas of the mansion, trying new activities, and developing confidence in her abilities. Lena noticed that her daughter was happier, calmer, and more curious about the world. The change was profound, and Lena knew that Tom's consistent guidance had made it possible. One evening, as the twin suns set, Lena joined Tom and Myra on the balcony. The city glimmered beneath them, reflecting the golden light of the fading sun. Myra laughed as Tom helped her reach for a small toy placed slightly out of reach. Lena watched, feeling a quiet pride and deep gratitude. "Tom," Lena said softly, "I want you to know that your impact extends beyond Myra. You have taught me, and I hope to continue learning from you. Your presence has reminded me of the power of patience, care, and courage." Tom smiled humbly. "I only hope to help. If Myra grows stronger and happier, that is enough for me." "No," Lena said firmly, smiling warmly. "It is more than enough. You have reminded me that true strength is not wealth, power, or technology. It is empathy, patience, and the courage to act wisely. That is something I will never forget." The following day, Lena organized a small gathering of her family and close friends. She wanted to recognize Tom's contributions publicly, to honor the human who had changed Myra's life. As they gathered in the children's wing, Lena spoke clearly and proudly. "Tom," she said, her voice filled with emotion, "has shown us all what true strength means. His patience, care, and understanding have transformed Myra's life. He has taught us that courage and wisdom come not from power alone but from the heart. Today, I want to acknowledge his work and his presence in our lives." The attendees watched in silence, moved by Lena's words. Tom remained modest, standing quietly beside Myra, who reached for his hand and smiled. Lena noticed that his humility and dedication made the recognition even more meaningful. Over the next few weeks, Tom's role expanded naturally. He guided Myra's education, designed activities to improve her mobility, and even helped Lena understand ways to nurture confidence and resilience in her daughter. The mansion, once a place of strict schedules and advanced technology, became a home of warmth, learning, and growth. Lena often reflected on the lessons she had learned from Tom. She realized that humans, though physically weaker than many aliens, possessed a unique inner strength. Their patience, empathy, and courage allowed them to inspire growth and change in ways that wealth and power could not. Tom had proven this every day through his dedication to Myra. One afternoon, as Lena watched Tom and Myra explore a new game designed to test problem-solving and coordination, she felt a sense of hope for the future. Myra's confidence was growing steadily, and her laughter filled the room. Lena knew that the bond between human and child had created a foundation for lifelong learning and resilience. She turned to Tom quietly. "You have done more than anyone could have imagined. Myra's growth, her confidence, her joy, it all stems from your care. I am grateful beyond words." Tom looked at her simply. "I only guide her and help her grow. The rest comes from her own effort and courage. Lena smiled, understanding the depth of his humility. It was not just his actions but his character that had made the difference. He had proven that human strength was measured not in power or status but in patience, empathy, and integrity. As the sun set over Solara, casting a warm glow across the city, Lena made a silent promise to herself. She would continue to support Tom, give him freedom to act, and learn from his human perspective. She understood that the future Myra's future depended not on wealth or technology alone but on the strength of heart, patience, and courage. And so, the city of Solara glimmered beneath the twin suns, a place of advanced technology and power. Yet within one mansion, a simple human had shown that true strength came from care, patience, and the courage to act wisely. Lena knew that the lessons Tom had taught her and Myra would last a lifetime. From that day forward, Tom continued his work with quiet dedication, Myra thrived under his guidance, and Lena embraced the value of trust, empathy, and human strength. Together, they built a future filled with hope, growth, and the extraordinary power of a good heart. The story of the human janitor and the alien billionaire became more than a tale of care, it became a lesson for all in Solara. True strength is found not in wealth or technology alone but in the ability to nurture, inspire, and act with integrity. Tom's actions had proven it, and his quiet courage had forever changed the lives of those around him.